Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda-free news. I'm Jerome Hughes, the host and creator of the channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to this channel and also click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future updates. All right, so I'm pretty sure you all might have heard about this lately, and I've talked about it a few times myself. Marvel Studios is pulling Disney tactics and being bullies to those who's helping to make their content. So now we got an anonymous VFX visual effects artist revealing how much bullying power Marvel has, and it leaves everybody pixel effed, if you will. All right, so back in it's still July 2022, but earlier this month actually, there's been many visual effects artists speaking out about the working conditions that Marvel has provided them, as including the amount of time that they've been given to work on different projects, the deadline to meet, as well as the amount of that they're being paid or lack thereof, and much more issues. Okay, now, what are some of the main problems that Marvel is creating for VFX houses, and is there a solution? Well, my guess is that most likely there isn't a solution unless it means to be a change of command, if you will. Okay, so in a recent Vulture article, Chris Lee chronicled a conversation he has with an anonymous VFX artist who has worked on several Marvel productions over the length of their career. Now, Lee breaks down in the article the different key issues and what needs to be changed to ensure that the artists are not getting messed over by Marvel. Okay, so turns out the conditions were originally worse than we thought. We knew they were bad, but this, I'm pretty sure, is going to be really bad. So the person who was speaking to the author from the article, Vulture, he said, I was working 7 days a week, averaging 65 hours a week on a good week. I've had co-workers sit next to me, break down and start crying. I've had people having anxiety attacks on the phone. So yeah, that does sound like people who's been overworked and they're like really feeling it, you know, and at the same time, they're not being paid, as well as having a lot of pressure put on them. Like that's just absurd. Now, it also continues that the studio's endless stream of blockbuster movies and television series has created almost an impossibly high demand from effects houses that have to bend over backward to keep Marvel happy. If they don't, then there's a high chance that those artists won't get any projects from the studio in the future. So in other words, they're going to be blacklisted. Marvel, we already seen that if somebody, you know, speaks bad or ill about the projects and movies that's been put out there, they're going to ban those who are reviewing it. The different editors and bloggers and vloggers and everything, they're going to get banned. But now we see that if people don't actually do the work that they're asking to, and if they're not, you know, doing the things required, and then if it's not finished on time, then they're not going to do any projects from the studio in the future. Now, I guarantee you, some of them are going to call that a blessing. They see that as a blessing anyway. Okay. Now, to get work, the different houses bid on a project, and the best offer gets the project. With Marvel, the bids are often low to appeal to the studio, and Marvel ends up saving money in the process. So that's where it comes to the part where the people who work in VFX are getting paid less. All right, so this is basically like in like according to Hollywood standards, this is cheap labor. This is cheap manual labor, and that I have a problem with, and many of us fans will have a problem with that as well. Now, unfortunately, the accepted lower the average bid means that the team working on the project will be much smaller and have to do a lot more of the work, kind of like in different professions, like those who work in grocery stores, fast food restaurants, even public school teachers. Okay. They also stated, where I would usually have a team of 10 VFX artists on a non-Marvel movie, on one Marvel movie, I got two, including myself. Okay, so they basically have, usually if it's not a Marvel movie, there's like a team of 10 different people and stuff working on it, and it's, you know, much simpler, much easier. But when Marvel gives them less pay and a certain date, which was not enough time for them to complete the project, that's when problems come up. That's when the work and product itself does not become perfect, and that's when the fans dislike it. It's not the fault of the VFX artists, it's the fault of the company that's putting it out there. In this case, Marvel Studios. Okay. The VFX artists also recalled a story about another VFX house that worked on an early MCU movie, and people talked about how they were getting pixel F, a term used when the client will nitpick over every little pixel. It becomes challenging working with Marvel, but what happens if a house can't satisfy the client? Well, if a VX team cannot finish the effects on time, the studio is going to have to give a project to another house. So they're going to not only find somebody else to do the job, but they're also going to blacklist that one house from doing future Marvel projects or future Marvel-based projects. All right, now we get into the root of the problem. Now, don't know enough of the details that's happening, but Vulture, the article from Vulture paints a pretty stressful picture. Now, according to Vulture, many Marvel directors have never worked with the VFX artists. Now, I've heard about that because there's like a number of directors who direct Marvel movies. They don't work with the VFX artists and everything, to help them and also see what's approved, what's not approved, and so on and so forth. Okay, so they basically can't visualize the thing that's not in front of them. Okay, so this will add more pressure to the VFX houses to create more work in progress images. And what that means is that the VFX artists are asked to work quickly on a high quality renders that might not even be the final product. So in other words, it's just they're going to criticize the rough draft and take it as the final draft. Okay. And if the director is not there and everything, that's when it's going to be even harder, and the product is not going to be done correctly. Okay, and the studio itself won't approve of it. All right. Another missing component to the process itself is the absence of the director of photography. Without the director of photography, the team is coming up with different shots. A lot of the time, which ultimately breaks the visual language of the film itself. Okay, so that explains the ending of Black Panther, the first Black Panther movie, where they were just jumping around willy nilly, and also the effects didn't really look well. I thought I was the only one that didn't notice it, but the article pointed that out as well. And it's just that if I'm not sure if the director of photography, Ryan Coogler, wasn't there to determine like if it was appropriate or not. Okay. So while it seems like this issue is almost too big to solve, the anonymous VFX artist suggests two possible solutions that could change the working conditions of the effect houses. Okay, they stated first, Marvel needs to train directors to work with visual effects so that they can also have a better vision and realistic expectations from the start. And another solution is the unionization of VFX artists. In this case, this is when a union is needed. All right. You have a big corporate leader in a production company where they're putting a lot of pressure on the artists, and these artists aren't given enough support and stuff to give the final product to the company which they want. So a union is needed. Otherwise, that particular house or VFX artist is going to be blacklisted from the future projects in the company. Okay. Now, unionizing VFX artists is like a growing movement, and it's going to help make sure that the VFX houses can't take bids without having to consider what the impacts would be. So in other words, they want to make sure that they're going to be able to get paid and well enough where the time is good. Okay. If the work is worth it. All right. Now, we haven't seen any improvements with the VFX departments and everything because of the final products is being put out there. Prime example, like I said, the ending of Black Panther, where Killmonger and T'Challa fighting, as well as the visual effects from Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. All right. Now they're saying that She-Hulk might not be the finished product, but why did they put teaser trailers out there for it anyway? I mean, something's actually going on that they're not really being transparent about. It says here the most favorable change may be impossible. What if Marvel slow down its releases I've been talking about this before. What if they slow down their releases to allow crew members across the board to have more time to craft a great movie while managing realistic expectations? In other words, don't try to set a date that's too soon enough for the actual product for the VFX artists to work on and put out there and have ready. Okay. So will Kevin Feige or Victoria Alonso do anything about it, or does Bob Chapek have to step in? Because I guarantee you, right about now, this is breaking news out there and everything, and I'm shocked. I just know Bob Chapek and the Disney board is hearing about this right now. Are they happy? We don't know. We're just going to have to see what Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios are going to put out there and what they're going to be saying about it, if they're even going to address the issue itself. Okay, so if you have any comments below or anywhere where I might have went wrong in this video with the information, please let me know in the comments. And also, if you have any details to add to what was talked about in this video, leave those in the comments as well. If you like the video, please smash that like button, and also if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future videos if you enjoyed this content. Until then, everyone, peace.